Okay, we are here going to work on the coordinate plane. So today we're going to focus on the coordinate plane and the different quadrants in the coordinate plane. You should have this piece of paper and you should have this piece of paper that has Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 on it. Right now, I want you to take a minute or two. You need to cut out every single piece of this, okay? And where you need to cut on all of the dotted lines. So, you should see that there's a dotted line here. You will need to cut this out. You will need to cut this out. You will need to cut this out. All of these little items you will need to cut out. Make sure that you don't lose any of these pieces because there's going to be lots of them. You may also want to pause my video right now so that you can cut all of these little pieces out and then resume the video after all these are cut out. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and assume that all of your items are cut out. You have all these little pieces now. Okay. And we are going to start with the little pieces. You can kind of put them off to the side. And now we are going to focus on the blue piece of paper. So the blue piece of paper has two darker black lines in here. I want you to fold on the darker black lines. Fold in, and then you're going to fold the other way. Okay. Now that you have done this, we are going to start by gluing in the graph itself. So on the inside of your blue, kind of open it up again. This is where we're mostly going to be working. You are going to glue in this graph. You're going to glue it right about here. Here is our graph that we are working with. You are also welcome right now to kind of cut the outside flaps of yours so that you're looking at quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. We've cut those before, right? So they're almost like little flaps, so you can flap them open. Okay? All right, we are going to focus then on quadrant 1. Now, quadrant 1 is where you have been graphing for all of elementary, okay? You've been graphing a positive and then a positive. This is what we call quadrant 1. So we're going to go ahead and glue in the positive, then positive symbol, meaning that our first number is a positive and our second number is a positive. That is true of all points in quadrant 1. That is true of all points in quadrant 1. Okay? This is quadrant 1. In quadrant 2, which is right here, in quadrant 2, which is right here, also right in here, okay, this is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. In quadrant 2, we would go X first, noticing that the numbers are negative, then going Y next, noticing that those numbers are positive. So the numbers that we would graph in this quadrant are negative, then positive. So let's find the ordered pair that says negative, then positive, and glue it right in there. Negative, then positive, glued right in here. Okay. That's quadrant 1, quadrant 2. Now we're going to graph quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 being, if we're going to graph, we would graph a negative followed by a negative. So we are going to put the negative, negative in there. Lastly, quadrant 4, we would be graphing our x first, which is positive, then graphing the negative. So this would be a positive, negative. Positive, then negative. Now, we have a couple more little pieces, and let's go ahead and put in the x-axis and the y-axis. This hopefully should be a quick review for you, but the x-axis, and if you just so happen to have a marker, you are welcome to mark yours just like I'm going to mark mine. But this is going to be the x-axis. Agreed? That is the x-axis. Get that glued in. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue that right above that x-axis. Okay? That is the x-axis. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of around that so you know that anything on this line is called the x-axis. The opposite of the x-axis then is what we call the y-axis. Right? This is our y-axis. We'll go ahead and glue that in. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that in and place it right here. Okay? Nice, right up against those. And you're going to want to make sure that they're right against those x-axis and the y-axis, so that way we still have some stuff to graph. Okay, this is our y-axis. Okay. The next one I'm going to go ahead and glue in is the origin, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and place the origin up here. I'm going to glue it right up there. And maybe you have already talked about where the origin is. And you can kind of think, okay, origin, that word kind of comes from original, origin. And so the origin is actually right here, at this point right here, at the point 0, 0. At 0, 0 is where the origin is. Okay. You will often find, if given the definition of origin, the definition of origin is where the x-axis and y-axis intersect. Remember, if at any time this video is going too fast, you are welcome to stop and pause and go back. Lastly, on this video, we're going to glue in the x and y. We still have 4 more things, I know we do. That's going to be continued on in the next video. So x, y, those are known, okay, as a ordered pair. This is what we call an ordered pair. Remember, you always do x first, then y. You always graph x first, then y. This concludes the video of the overall Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, Quadrant 4.